gonna give it a good shot. Lois is going to peel back in the next 30 minutes how to reach deep into her depths of what she has come through and present some amazing key points and offer some tools to get there. The other point, she has been at this for 20 some years, so she comes with a wealth of information. Sorry, I'm getting a double phone call on my phone, but she is tenacious, outgoing, winsome, loves people, will work tirelessly to get the job done and help you. So with that, Lois, I'd like to give you the floor and share the screen with you and take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. It's so fun. It's like a little reunion here. Yay. So good to see all of you, many of you that I've known for years, know and love. And it's kind of fun for you to see me in a different light as well, because I have pivoted as a result of this year. Again, I'm Lois Kofi, Lois Kofi Enterprises, and I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger so you guys can see it. But I'd love for you guys to, some of you already shared, and that was perfect. If there's anything you didn't get a chance to share, you know, what do you need today? What are you looking for? When you saw this title, these subjects that I'm going to cover today, what made you curious? You know, if you have a goal, something that you're struggling with or something that you want to share, please put that in the chat. My goal is to pour into you for 30 minutes, and then sometimes I go a little long, but I'm really gonna keep it as short and as 30 minutes as possible, because I want to get you guys out of here on time and also answer any questions. So you can also at the end think about, what are you going to take action on today? What one nugget or pearl of wisdom? I know you are all attending lots of Zooms and all sorts of different things right now, so you're probably consuming a lot of content, but I don't just want you to hear today to feel good and have a warm and fuzzy dopamine hit. I want you to actually take action on something. And at the end, of course, I'll share with you how you can refer me, because I know a lot of you guys are in BNI, or if you even want to work past today, I have a $9 course that I'm launching next week that I'm really excited about. So did you know, 86 days left in the year called 2020, which I think a lot of us didn't see it coming, right? We're in the final 12 weeks, final quarter to sprint or spring into 2021. And you don't have to put this, you know, in the comments, but has 2020 gone the way you thought for your business and your personal life? You know, a lot of people have been impacted by this shift, this recession that we're heading into. A lot of you guys know Amy Tyson. I've talked to her, and she's, you know, her and then financial advisors and different economists that I talk to. It's going to be probably a 3-year journey of this new normal. Maybe you've been impacted by that. And I've actually been impacted by it myself long before 2020. Part of my story, if you don't already know, is in 2006, 2007, I lost everything after massive success. I never saw that coming. You know, so similarly, I have a lot of compassion and empathy for what people have gone through or are growing through right now. I was making multiple 6 figures in real estate. I had a mortgage company that I just owned. I was building a $1 million condo on the shores of Tempe Town Lake across the street from Arizona State University. I was traveling the world. Life was good. I thought I was healthy because I was doing these things called Ironman triathlons. And sure enough, I hit a brick wall, a massive brick wall. And in less than 18 months, I was homeless. I had my car repossessed the day before my 30th birthday, when I thought I would have been celebrating being a millionaire. So my expectations were shattered. I went through a lot of trauma, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. That's why I have a huge heart for mental health and a lot of suicide prevention, because I've been impacted by that personally, family members, friends, even as recent as last month. So I'm really here today to offer you hope and, you know, share everything I've learned, and I'm still learning, from going from massive multiple 6-figure debt, bankruptcy, foreclosure, car repossession, and all that, losing my health, and being able to come out on the other side. And it's really all the things that I've learned for the last 13 years. So when COVID hit, I was like, dude, this is deja vu for me. Like, I've been there, done that. And a year ago, you know, BNI gave me 90% of my business face-to-face, belly-to-belly, right? And so I'd never really thought about pivoting online. And I always had a CRM, a client relationship manager, but I never did email marketing. And a lot of the things that I now have quickly, I hired lots of coaches, thankfully, at the end of last year, who specialize in all of the things that I now do and am making really, really good money at. And so I like to always be transparent with people. I'm maybe, 6 to 12 months ahead of a lot of you or a lot of people that who are really struggling right now financially, because I happen to have the right tools and happen to learn a lot and apply everything that I've learned the last 13 years. So these are my 4 principles, what I call the Kofi sales formula, my pillars of teaching, how to have the mindset of a sales champion, lead generation and prospecting mastery, time management, selling ninja, and CRM mastery. We're going to focus on 3 and 4 today, because Peg and I talked, and she knows you guys and what's going on, and we thought that this would be a really good topic. So how do you be more productive? How do you be more efficient? How do you get more done in less time? Because, right, we're all looking for that. And how to hopefully increase your income through that process. So I always like to show this photo. This is one of my favorites. This is, I don't know if you guys remember kindergarten or preschool, but we were all born and created for structure. And having predictability helps keep us healthy. Like when I went through everything and I lost everything overnight, it seemed like I got really, really sick. Part of it was because of not so healthy nutritional habits, but a lot of it was that all of a sudden my world crumbled and I had to start all over. And a lot of that is because I was so used to a structured life. And then when you think about time management, it's really an inner game, an outer game, and a game of taking action. Do you think of someone that they seem to get more done than God in a day? They're like just crushing it, and yet you are someone, maybe you've been there, not saying that this is any of you now, but you're like, oh my God, my to-do list is like 5,000 miles long, and I think I got 2 things done today, right? How does that person do it? Well, it's just really clear intentions, clear purpose of that inner game, outer game, and taking action. So what I'd like for you to do now is play. I love interaction. So if you can share what your perspective is, and there's no judgment. This is a positive, safe, supportive, loving environment. If you were to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with how effective you are in creating and using your time, in other words, time management, even though I don't believe in time management, it's choice management, it's mindset, all of those things. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10, you're like, I'm crushing my daily schedule. I'm getting everything marked off my to-do list. I go to bed at night, my head hits the pillow, and I sleep like a rock star because I got everything done. I feel accomplished. Where do you stand on that scale? If you want to share that in the chat. And there's nothing wrong with whatever number you put. Just know that it's always about a clean slate. Starting a new day, starting a new week, starting a new month, starting a new quarter is how can you be different or do different than what you've done in the past. And it's okay if you send it to me privately too. I just saw that. That's totally, totally awesome. So how do you take whatever that number that you got and how do you move the needle higher up the scale? First thing is that inner game. What is your mindset? What is your story around time management? So many times I hear people say, man, I ran out of time. I wish I had more time. Do any of you identify with that? Have you ever felt that way? Especially if you're like me, I've got homeschooling now on top of, a massively successful growing business, all these new clients, and trying to figure out, how to teach my children, which I never signed up for, right? I wasn't expecting to be a teacher, but now I've got all of these things and all these additional responsibilities. If I didn't have my time use affirmations, and I put some examples here, I love managing my time use. And again, I'm going to say time use instead of time management, even though I mentioned time management. That's just more of like the traditional phrase, but I want you to think about, how do I use my time? How do I choose to use my time? How do I choose to set healthy boundaries so I don't have a nervous breakdown or lose my mind or compromise my health? Even I chose to create this affirmation. I'm a master at saying no and staying true to my goals. One of my decisions last month was I resigned as a BNI director. I got to make that decision because I was starting to see my health compromised, and I had flashbacks. I've been there, done that. I helped a client. He's a coach, a business coach, a newer coach, because he was doing a lot of different things before COVID hit. And when he got slapped with this opportunity called COVID-19 and the quarantine, he decided, you know what, I want to start a coaching business. Not too ironically, kind of what I did too, because I was in network marketing and a lot of you guys know me as the coffee lady and all these other things. I decided, you know what, I'm tired of making other people millions. It's time for me to own my own business, my own greatness, and lead with that. So I started coaching him last month. His increased income happened, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to get rid of that part-time job that's just an energy suck. It was $3,000 in income, and he made that mindset of, you know what, I'm going to get clear on using my time wisely now with all of that additional time I got, and I'm going to replace that $3,000 of income. So he's taking ownership of his mindset and his life. So to think is to create. If you think you don't have enough time, well, guess what? You're not going to have enough time. One of my best tips that I personally use myself and coach my clients on is, what is your vision? You know, a part of your inner game is your purpose, your head to heart connection of why am I here? Your reason for being. If you ever read the book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, check it out. You know, he was in a concentration camp for a really long time. He was seeing people gassed and dying every day. You might think he'd want to die too, but he searched deep inside of his soul is, why am I still alive? You know, he's seeing death every day. Why am I still here? And it was because he had a vision and a hope and a future. So I ask you, what is your vision? Which is, you know, the definition here is the ability to see, but it's really, to me, it's what do you want? So we don't have enough time, but if I were coaching you one-on-one, I'd say write down the top 20 things that you want for yourself, just not in like in any order, just the first thing that comes to your mind, and then carve out an hour, maybe or 2 or 3, and start writing out what it is that you want. And it could be still for the rest of this year. It could be for 2021. It could be 2023. I think in decades, so I've written out 2030 already, and I've written out 2023 already. Knowing this helps you cast that image of that vision board of what's going to keep you going. And what I discovered is if you have that vision, you're going to say no more to things that don't serve that vision. You're going to set healthy boundaries more consciously, because if this shiny object doesn't fit what you have clearly put forth, and trust me, I still have shiny object syndrome, right? I think someone called it OCSO, obsessive compulsive shiny object syndrome, whatever, too many acronyms. But at the end of the day, it's all about just taking a step forward one day at a time, getting you closer to that vision. Most of you knew me in Minnesota. And I know Suzanne and I have that connection because she is from Southern California and San Diego. And I had a vision, my husband and I had a vision to move to Southern California, move back, because that's actually where we came from when we moved to Minnesota. And it was like, oh my God, that sounds impossible. First of all, moving is expensive. Number 2, California is more expensive than Minnesota, right? Number 3, we have children. We have to figure out schooling. Number 4, my husband had his highest and best paying job at Best Buy headquarters. Everybody, you know, not everybody, but a few people thought we were crazy. We set a date. We drew a line in the sand and said, this is our clear vision. And it seemed impossible, even 60 days up till the move date, but we made it happen. Everything fell into place, and now everything has fallen into place. So the universe will conspire for you to support you if you just go out after it every single day, and time use is a huge part of that. If you haven't already read the book, this is another referral I want to implore you to consider taking action on. This may be your one thing that you take action on today. I work with Brian Moran. He's actually did a webinar for me last week. He's one of my mentors. When I read this book 5 years ago, and I I'd gone through all that trauma, all of that monkey mind and becoming a mom, you know, how mom brain sets in. And it's, you know, I was spread too thin. I was doing all the things. I read this book and it was like, it slapped me back awake into realizing, oh my gosh, I'm overcommitting. I'm doing too much. My to-do list is way too long. I can't do it all. Who am I trying to please here? And I found I was becoming a people pleaser. And when I read that book, it streamlined my thinking, and I can get more done in less time if I just do less, do more with less. So I got certified in teaching this stuff, and it brought me back to the days, if you knew me in the fitness world, if you know P90X, same concept, 90 days, 12 weeks. You can get so much more done if you just focus on this rest of the year, if you want, and not even worry about 2021. And that'll catapult you into the new year. A lot of people think, oh, I got so much time. I got 12 months to accomplish this goal. Well, look what happened in 2020, right? Things changed. So I encourage you to read that book and think about shorter time frames and doing less and getting more accomplished as a result. Here's one of my clients, Chris Cucina. He's actually in Wisconsin. Met him before I left Minnesota. He's a huge advocate for the 12-week year, and he's become so much more productive. He just got an office. He set that as a 12-week year goal. Now he's moved on to his next 12-week goal of getting a CRM implemented and executed with excellence and not overcommitting anymore. And why does this work? You know, same thing, why does P90X or a lot of these 90-day fitness and nutrition programs work? Because a lot of people, including myself, I'm speaking autobiographically, and I've coached thousands of people in fitness and in business over the last couple of decades. A lot of us, we overcommit, and we can't peak perform when we're spread too thin. When I was an Ironman triathlete and a personal trainer, I got the science behind the 12-week years based on science. The Olympic gold medalists back in the 70s proved that if you can compartmentalize and structure, just like a picture of those kids, if you can compartmentalize and structure your day and really just be present, like The Power of Full Engagement, another great book on how to get more done in less time, just be fully present. When I was training for an Ironman, I was biking for 3 hours. I was biking for 3 hours. I wasn't sitting there doing anything else. Of course I couldn't, but you see what I'm saying? So if you're doing your lead generation time, you just do that. You don't get it, you know, avoided your lead generation by getting a text message that all of a sudden took precedence, right? Or you got a phone call when you're supposed to be doing outbound lead generation, and just move on from that, complete that task and move on to the next. Complete that task and move on to the next. So it's all based on science, and that's what peak performers do. Part of the outer game, this is what you might put on paper. This is what you might, you know, I have a 12-week year planner that I love to use because it allows me to put pen to paper. I was gonna say that wasn't quite the right visual, but you know, you got what I'm saying. Being able to do that, and then being able to have a structured time use with very specific activities throughout the week. That's an example of what that means here by what is your ideal work week. I also encourage people to work your plan your work, start all of that on Sunday nights before you go and hit the ground running on Monday morning, because a lot of fires can start on Monday. A lot of things can happen around you. And if you don't have it all on paper, Jim Rohn says, when do you start your week or your month or even your year is when it's finished on paper. So I also have a document. If anybody would like, I can email this to you guys. Just shoot me an email. I'll put my contact information here in the chat before I'm done. But I have this document. I call it the Daily Compass. And it's just like a compass. It's my true north. It keeps me honest. I write everything down I'm going to do that day on paper first. And then at the end of the day, you can't see it, but I have questions here, and I reflect on what worked that day, what didn't work that day, and also asking myself what specifically was my shiny object or distraction that didn't serve me that didn't support my vision, that didn't move the needle forward that day for my goals. And I don't beat myself up about it. I don't pull out the boxing gloves. I have been very good at that most of my life. So I'm working on, keeping those gloves off and treating myself with kindness. That's also part of the inner game of giving yourself grace. And I also, here on the outer game, is I intentionally every day write down on my daily compass, what am I going to do to fuel my mind, my body, and my spirit that day? Making sure that I take care of my mental, physical, and spiritual health, because without that, I have learned, and I've seen many people learn, nothing else matters. So if you can think about what can you do every day to fuel yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, that could be an action item. I've helped a lot of people exercise more or work less or, eat better nutritionally, or even just drinking more water or more meditation, more prayer, more even just reflection time. I've seen my clients, their income increase by reflecting every day for 30 minutes and adding that into their outer game plan. So having predictability and knowing what is going to, when you hit the ground running on Monday, you have your time blocks in. And if we get some time, I didn't want to break the PowerPoint. I'll show you an example of an ideal model work week so you have a visual for that. So one thing too is something that I've studied and learned with my coaches and even with my clients. There's something called Parkinson's Law. You know how you say, oh, I'll get to that later. I got plenty of time. And then all of a sudden you get all these phone calls, you get all of these distractions, your kids show up at the door, you have a fire to put out because, and I believe it's like Murphy's Law in a lot of respects, if you didn't have your time blocked for that specific thing, something comes to try to fill it. And then before you know it, everything's shot to hell in a handbasket because you don't have any more time to get that thing done that you said you would. Even when I prepare for a speaking engagement like this, I time blocked it in. Just because I always want to be prepared. So those are my non-negotiables is whatever is my income producing activities, my self-care, all the things that I put in my daily compass. I make sure everything has value and purpose, again, that goes with my vision. So I'll actually, gosh, I'm just thinking out loud if I should do this right now or later. We'll look at the 12-week year model week at the end. I don't want to run out of time, but these are just some things that you could put on your ideal work week. Some different tips also, do you have a Calendly scheduling link or Acuity, whatever your scheduling link is? A lot of the biggest things that I've seen, and it was actually happened a lot to me in BNI. I don't know why I never thought of it until in the last couple of years, but you know how you want to schedule or book a meeting and you go back and forth on email for 3 weeks and the meeting never happens, or you go back and forth on text for 3 months and the meeting never happens. First of all, it doesn't look very professional. Second of all, it doesn't move the needle forward. So if you have a calendar link and say, here, book on my calendar link, you're also telling people to respect your time and you're respecting their time, because it takes way less time to just go on that and schedule and then it happens. So putting vision review on your schedule every day. Do you do a power hour for calling or whatever your lead generation methodology of choice is? Do you have your one-on-one appointments booked on your calendar, even if you don't have people in them? That's one of my favorite tricks. Just put them on the calendar. If you build it, they will come. They will show up. If you do door knocking, probably not as popular right now. Do you have events? How many networking events are you attending? Are you getting zoomed out? Are you just going from event to event to event without any result? The definition of insanity, right? Make sure your events have purpose and meaning. Then I have also my 8x8 and CRM sifting and sorting leads time on my calendar, because if you don't have it on there, guess what? It'll never happen. Even asking for referrals, do you schedule that? Reflection time, all of the things these are tips and tricks that I work with my clients on. So everyone take a deep breath. I know I talk really fast, but I want to bring it home here with talking about sales through lead generation in this new normal, right? So I always have had a client relationship manager, also known as a CRM. When I was in real estate, starting out at the tender age of 22, my coach right away said, hey, Lois, you got to have a list. You got to have a database. Here's a CRM. I think I started out with ACT, if anyone's ever used that. And I just was consuming that right away because I realized, yeah, how am I going to keep track of all these leads? How am I going to know whose daughter was Susie and whose son was Johnny, and how am I going to remember their birthdays and all of the things? So now, though, I have elevated my thinking and my income by the things that I'm about to share with you. So I'm sure you've all seen and heard the stats, and some people argue with me on these stats, but I've actually seen, no matter what industry I've been in, except maybe coffee, it does take 5 to 12 follow-ups to get a yes or a sale. Are you following up with excellence? Are you doing that consistently? So what is your daily lead generation plan? How many new prospects are you looking to put into your funnel, your database? How are you attracting leads to you right now? And are you putting that on your time blocking management system? How much time are you bringing in the new? One of my first mentors in real estate, he and his buddy were keeping each other accountable, and they would call each other at 10 o'clock at night and say, hey, did you work today? He's like, yeah, I closed on a house. It was a big one. I got a $10,000 commission check. And his friend said, no, did you work today? I'll never forget this story because it like hit me square in the eyes. And he's like, oh yeah, crap. I didn't make my 20 phone calls today to bring in new prospects, new appointments. We get so busy, maybe closing the deal or going to BNI meetings or whatever, but you always want to be finding new prospects and filling your pipeline. There's a great book called The Parable of the Pipeline. Check it out. You want business today, you want business tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. And you don't want feast or famine, at least I don't. I don't know about any of you, but the peaks and valleys, you don't want that. So you always got to be bringing in new people. And how many people are you following up? And are you mining your database? Are you using your online or whatever you have for your CRM every single flippin' day? One of the things that I was fortunate, but I really wish I would have listened to my mentors back in the Great Recession. They were all starting YouTube channels. They were all really getting active and building their LinkedIn connections. They were, Facebook was brand new. LinkedIn was newer as well. But I really wasn't understanding the importance of learning online skills. I really didn't. I've been playing with it more. I really started beefing up my YouTube channel. But everyone's online right now. Everyone is consuming information. So I encourage you to build an audience that will bring in leads to your CRM, your database. So how do you connect with your audience? If you want to put the comments in the chat, I apologize, I'm not able to look at all of them, but if you want to share, what is your best way, your best practice for connecting and building an audience? Here are some of my favorites. First of all, the mindset of I'm attracting and building my own tribe. So I beefed up my YouTube channel, and guess what? I had a client who was a BNI referral who wouldn't hire me. We even did a 30-minute free coaching introductory session. I know we got a lot of coaches on here, so you want to be listening to this. But he wasn't convinced. I didn't close him on that call. I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. And he went and probably spent, 5 to 10 hours watching my YouTube channel videos. I'm like, that sounds boring, but okay. And he hired me. He spent over $2,000 with me now because I had a YouTube channel. Do you have a Facebook fan page? Do you do Zoom webinars? I just live streamed into my Facebook group. Facebook groups, huge income booster for me and my clients. I'm coaching a lot of my clients and starting and monetizing Facebook groups. In fact, that's what I'm teaching in my $9 course next week. Do you have a blog? I used to have a blog. I actually still have it and I can still monetize it. I stopped doing it because of children and life. But if you love to write, people love that, that attraction of being able to just consume whatever you share, and it tells them a lot about you. They're studying you. They're watching you through all of these mechanisms. Do you want to publish an ebook? I've been working with a lot of speakers and authors because they want to publish, but then they don't know how to monetize it. You can absolutely market your business through an ebook. Like Colleen, if you wanted to say, hey, yeah, I was an appraiser before. Here are the 5 things you need to know before hiring an appraiser, or whatever. I'm just kind of making something up on the fly. But that's going to set you apart from all the other, you know, John Smith realtors that are out there. What are you doing to set yourself apart and attracting your tribe? There's affiliate programs that may not apply, but since we have some coaches here, I have an affiliate program that actually helps me get speaking engagements, that helps me build an income. I had over $4,000 last month came from affiliate referral income. So that's really, really helpful in times like these. I started a podcast, as a lot of you know, that's helped me bring in new clients and new followers. LinkedIn, Instagram, you know, where is your sandbox? Where are you playing right now? And then, of course, having a landing page with lead magnets, which could be those ebooks, those YouTube videos, those PDFs, whatever you can share that gives value. Because if you give value, you'll get referrals, you'll get more business. And the best part I love about this stuff, guys, is you create it once and it's there forever. And you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment. This is the cheapest way I've ever marketed my business in my life. And then, of course, in closing, kind of wrapping it up here, you know, how are you following up in this new normal? We can't do the face-to-face, belly-to-belly. I have reversed and done a 180 myself. 90% of my business came from BNI, and now 90% of my business comes from online. Because I've studied over the past 6 months and started mastering. I'm not a master yet, but I've started really understanding how to follow up with people on Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are my areas of expertise. I'm not Instagram, TikTok. I don't really know those areas at all. But being able to become visible, share my landing pages, share my lead magnets, share my podcast, coaching all of my clients to do the same, and building their visibility and credibility, which, as you know, in BNI can make you highly profitable, and leads just start falling into your CRM or your client relationship manager. So if you want to share in the comments, you know, what do you use? And there's so many out there. It can be confusing. I do, you know, I have consulted people on this and helping them figure out what is the best one. I've used probably 12 different ones in the last 20 years. And now I would advise you, don't get one that doesn't have the ability to make landing pages, that doesn't have the ability to do email campaigns, that doesn't have the ability to help you with social media posts, lead magnets, all of those things to be building your tribe in your own email database. Because Facebook is not a database, LinkedIn is not a database, it's just social online interaction, but you want people to come and be a part of your tribe, your community. And this is something I've used ever since real estate. I've sold across 3 different industries, you guys, and before COVID and now after COVID, and this works every single time for me. The fortune is always in the follow-up. You know, you can't close most people on the first meeting, right? So then how are you going to keep them engaged? How are you going to stay connected and dripping on them? Well, I've made over $40,000 since COVID hit by starting to master, again, I'm not perfect at it, my email campaigns, building my tribe on Facebook, LinkedIn, getting them off and getting them into my email and creating value. So this is an example. I consult people one-on-one for their own, but this is an example of how to touch people 8 times over a compressed time frame of preferably 4 to 8 weeks. And using a good email campaign right now is really not optional unless you still have time to make phone calls. I honestly used to be the phone call queen, 20, 30 calls a day, no problem. But with kids, it's, you know, home all the time, husband home all the time, you know, more and more clients digitally, I don't make those phone calls anymore. I might make 5 in a day. So you got to set your goals. You got to, again, use your time blocks and say, okay, Here's when I'm going to work on my email campaign, and this is the value I'm going to give to them. In my $9 course next week, again, I'll share at the end, I teach a lot more on what does that email campaign look like for you and how to create value, keep them entertained, engaged, coming back, wanting to open your emails and say, yes, I want to buy your stuff, or I want to hire you because you created so much value for me. And this is my favorite tip. And this is also why I've built an affiliate program, because I don't care if you don't buy from me. I want to be your friend, you know, just like that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I want you to know that I'm your best follow-up queen, your best sales trainer out there. You want to be known as the best realtor, the best gift basket business owner, the best holistic health coach, the best travel, you know, savings ambassador, the best productivity coach. All of those things, you want their referrals, because that also fills your pipeline. So at the end of the day, that's why I love Shawshank Redemption. I love Morgan Freeman and Tim Robinson, because Red, if you've seen the movie, if you haven't, go watch it right away. He was the man in prison who knew how to get you stuff, how to get things. And if you can win friends and influence them, keep them in your pipeline forever and drip on them, and they give you referrals, that doesn't cost a lot of money. That's a lot of income by giving value and being known for the guy or gal who can be the expert in your field. So like I shared, you know, what action will you take from today? I know I got to leave in about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna wrap it up here really quickly. What action will you take? How you focus? I didn't go over sales champion mindset today, more time use mindset. You know, how are you gonna block out your time? Maybe you'll get the 12-week year, and I'll still show an example of the model work week when I take a breath here, and I can go get that after the slides are done. Who's holding you accountable for your goals and dreams? And I'll also, if anybody wants a copy of my daily compass that I use every single day, that I created during the Great Recession, just to keep me going, keep me in check, and always moving the needle forward. And I always say, if you came to this event today, like I said, not to sound harsh, but I've done it. You know, I always loved Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar, and just listening to them just would give me like a dopamine hit, you know, just, you know, my drug of choice, right? But then I wouldn't do anything with it. So I encourage you, do something, because everything that I taught you today was meant to increase your income in less time, help you have better health, better wealth, and a lot more wisdom. When you apply things, that's when wisdom comes in, right? Not just listening to me. Your inaction could cost you less time with your family, friends, and burnout, you know, health challenges, no vacation, being a workaholic, decreasing your income, increased stress, getting another year older on the hamster wheel and thinking, where the hell did that year go? And your dreams can become more elusive if you don't take action. Here's one of my favorite testimonials of my good friend Kathy. We met the first week of COVID. I know this isn't the best picture of her, it's a little blurry, but she was a musician and a travel agent. Double whammy, shut down, no income. I helped her start a new business. I helped her triple her income that she was making, and now life is good for her. Again, using all of the principles that I shared with you today. Kathy Olson, I met her thanks before COVID. She applied these principles of the 12-week year and time use and shared it with her sales team, and COVID hit, and it was not even a blip on her screen of problems or change. She's just continued to rise ever since then. So again, I'll drop the link in here if you guys have any interest in taking action with me and doing this $9 course next week. It's a 3-hour course, 14th, 15th, and 16th. You consume it whenever you want. It's not like a webinar like this. You can help grow your list to 100 subscribers or get your next 100. And leveraging Facebook and LinkedIn is specifically what I'm going to teach, since that's what I've been, you know, increasing my income by thousands every month because of what I'm teaching in this course. And if you wanted to do more, you know, this is always an invitation that I love. I do have a $97 a month online coaching program, cancel at any time. It includes a one-on-one session with me valued at $250. And if you have any interest in that, I can share that with you as well. So
I'll give you a minute to drop your links in, Lois. And what I'd like to do, if ladies, you would like to drop in your pearl, your nugget, your takeaway, or open your mic and share. I have 3 that I'm going to do. I loved her comment, complete the task and move on to the next. I am such a multitasker. And I need to focus on that. So I am going to focus on that this week and see if it, over the next 90 days, I can develop the habit. And I've heard of Calendly or Calendly, and I've always been hesitant to block out time to drop in my days of availability, but I'm starting to see the value in that and how I could do more one-to-ones with BNI. Yes. And then my last takeaway is I've been working with Lois, obviously, with iBoomerang, the travel, and she's just grown, evolved. And I just have been challenged with going to my warm list. So when I came across this Now site marketing that she shared with us and one of the CRMs that she's referring to here, I'm going to set that up. I'm looking forward to doing my drip campaign. And Cindy, I would love to talk to you. I'm not trying to infringe on your area. I think there are some differences, and I want to be very respectful of you. And I'd like your feedback on this too. So does a few of the other ladies, do you have a golden nugget, like 10 seconds, and then we'll shoot your questions through so Lois can answer Q&A. Open up your mics or drop them in. Oh, we all
Lois,
got
I always
silent.
enjoy listening to you talk. I enjoy the way that you are such an overcomer. And I really like how you've used your sales skills and transferred it between different industries. I think that's very interesting and very fun. So, and I'm super happy that things are going well for you in California. Although I still think you should move back here.
so does our daughter, just so you know.
Yeah.
Every week we go through that process. So yeah, appreciate you. And that's the fun thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Colleen. Just so you know, sales is sales is sales. No matter what you're selling, all of this applies to every single thing. It really, really does. I guess it depends on a few things, but I think I'm glad I got that experience to cut my teeth in different industries, because I didn't change a whole lot until this year with email campaigns. I had to do that, but otherwise it was duplicatable across everything I've ever done.
Awesome.
Anybody else? What action items are you guys going to take?
Yeah.
Thank you for presentation, very good one. And I have to tell you, seems like a deja vu everything that you know, but kind of look back on myself and shorten my list to do, because it's maybe not, I'm not doing everything. Maybe you're right. Sometimes you scatter it and trying to please many other people, and you have to concentrate on certain things. So that is just refreshing for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And I will share my screen. Catherine had mentioned something. I think this is a perfect time because, again, it's easy to talk about but not able to visualize it. So this is an example of what I coach my clients on and what I've done for 2 decades. That's why people are like, Lois, how can you get so much done? I'm glad I mastered it before children. But then I still needed to read the 12-week year to really reconnect with that time use and time blocking. So these are examples of, hopefully you can see it. I'm going to try to scroll down. There we go. So some of the language may not make sense to you because it's specific to the 12-week year, but just keeping in mind these buffer blocks. Oh, by the way, great healthy boundary and time management hack right there. That's when you check your email and your text messages and your Facebook Messenger or whatever the things are that you use. Because here's the deal. People think they can get a hold of you anytime, anywhere. They're going to abuse that, right? So if you set healthy boundaries, you need to teach your prospects and your clients that, and it's saved me so much time and hassle. And I still have, because it's so addictive, right, to just check Facebook Messenger. And I still have a tendency to do that. But I'm really working on that this year, on checking it less and having some boundaries, and then taking Sunday completely off. Admin time, when do you do that? When do you do your prospecting? These are those appointments that I said, those are your appointment times. So when someone says, hey, when can we meet? Now, first of all, the calendar link, perfect. Have your appointment times and available times only on that calendar link. But if not, you're talking to them, you can schedule on the phone and say, well, I'm available at Wednesday at 8 or Thursday at 1. Which one works best for you? The moment you say, oh, I'm open, what works best for you? They'll be like, oh, they're not very successful. They got all the time in the world to talk to me. Great. I'm going to see if I can take a lot of it. You know what I mean? So there's these subliminal things that this system gives you posture and will make you more money.
Thank you for that, Lois. I completely agree. I'm also working hard on checking social media only occasionally and structuring that a little bit more. And you're right, the scheduling of activities and batching them together is really, really helpful.
And that's the powerful engagement, right? You're in that moment, you're present, checking your email for 30 minutes or whatever the time block is scheduled for, and is to the best of your ability. Life happens. I'm not perfect either. We're all on this journey together, learning and growing.
Exactly. Thank you.
Melissa, Cindy, or Suzanne, do you have a Pearl takeaway golden nugget? We can't hear you, Cindy.
Yeah. Okay, so it's good to Lois. It's been a while. I joined late, so I'm sitting, but of course I do like your lander on time.
Could you get closer to the mic, Cindy? We appreciate you came even if you were late.
Just holler. I said thank you for your tips. On time blocking.
Awesome. You look beautiful, by the way.
Suzanne, do you have a takeaway?
Pretty much the same thing you were saying, that you know, pick one thing and stay with it, finish it, move on to the next.
Excellent. Melissa, did you have one? I didn't want to cut you off.
Well, I'm a huge time blocker, and I love the Pomodoro technique. So I am on that all day long, trying to stay on target, because I do not believe in multitasking. So there's no such thing. It's just doing too many things. And so I like how Lois talked about it.
And I want to give a shout out to all of you for coming today. Thank you for your time. I'm playing around with this space, and I thank you for giving me some grace and leeway, and, you know, let me run like a thoroughbred. I think there's some good things happening here that is good for all of us. And we'll just keep developing that. Lois,